David Viscott, and welcome back. You know, sometimes I look at this computer screen and I wonder, is that really true? Are these really real calls? And they always are. I'm always amazed at the variety of problems that people have. And what's astonishing is that at the heart of all of these wild or bizarre or unusual problems are simple feelings that can be understood as hurt not being expressed at the time it should be. Who's up?
Okay, we have Sherry and Henry. They're on line A, and they have a problem they want to talk to you about.
Sherry and Henry.
Hello.
Who's this? Sherry.
This is Sherry. Yeah, Henry, he's not going to talk on the phone because he doesn't want to be recognized.
But it's okay for you to be recognized?
Well, hopefully they don't. My friends and, family and stuff.
So that sounds like a lame excuse. Okay, we'll see what's going on. How old are you, Sherry?
20.
How old are you, Henry?
He's 24.
I hear you, Henry. Okay, 24. What's the problem?
Okay, I have two problems. The first problem is, I have lots of, anger inside me.
Over what hurt? Anger always comes from hurt, so what's the hurt?
Well, I was raped, and when I lived with family, and...
When you live with what family?
Grandparents. I was raised with my grandparents.
And who raped you?
A man that lived across the street from me. He still lives there now. So it's whenever I go down my grandparents' house, I always, face him, because he's always, in his garden or whatever.
Have you ever reported him?
No, the reason I never did is, when I was younger, my grandmother, she took me through psychologists and stuff. And the psychologist said that I was too emotional, so my grandmother didn't want to, let me go under that,
No, I don't know.
She didn't want me to go through the court system or
Did your
anything
grandmother
like
know?
Yeah, she knows.
And what did she say about it?
It's sort of just passed, now that I'm older. But as I was growing up...
It really hasn't passed.
No, it hasn't, because, as I was growing up, I was this angry person, It's like my family tried to give me love, and I didn't want to accept their love. And, I sort of got...
Have you ever worked on this in therapy?
No, I never have.
Why not?
I don't know. I just, I sort of I try to block it out of my mind, but, every time I get upset, I think about it, and it really hurts me.
Then you have to work on this. These things don't go away. And when you have a problem over a rape, where you've been so violated, and where your grandmother used some kind of, to be perfectly kind about it, used some kind of cockeyed reasoning just to avoid the scandal in the community, not to protect you.
Okay, another question.
Well, you're not going to hear the end of it?
Okay, yes, I am.
You have to listen. You see, part of what's going on with you is you're very skittish. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know what skittish is?
No.
You jump around. You're very agitated. You can't listen. You've got
That's
something
true.
going on inside of you. And what it is the constant anxiety over exploding over this old fear, an old hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So when your grandmother has held in and kept you back for the wrong reasons, because she was ashamed of this getting out in the community or she felt overwhelmed by it, she caused you to push all of these feelings inside. So you're angry not only at the rapist, but you're also angry at your grandmother for betraying you.
Mm-hmm.
And probably angry at your folks because they weren't there to take over. Where were your folks?
My mother, my father, I don't really know him.
And mother?
Mother she's around, but she never raised me because she was too young at the time when she had me.
So there's a lot of resentment in a lot of areas,
yeah, that's
right?
True.
Okay. And this is something that you need to work on because this is it's like carrying a bag of unresolved hurt all through your life. And wherever anger can be displayed, it will show itself, and it will interfere with your relationships.
Do you think that it affects the people around me? Because I remember...
Of course.
Growing
It
up,
affects me talking to you right now because I find you kind of slippery and agitated. It's hard to pin you down.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes me feel like you're not really getting it. And I don't feel like I'm making contact. It's like you're squirming away. That's the feeling I get.
No, I'm listening to you.
I know. I'm telling you the feeling I get. I mean, now you are, but at the beginning you weren't.
Yeah.
I had to slow you down.
Yeah. It's like, you know, with my husband, he gives me love, and now I'm like learning, you know, how it feels and everything.
How what feels? How love feels?
Yeah, how love feels. But
And how does it make you feel to be loved?
it feels good, but it was hard for me to accept it because, you know, like when I was younger, I was really promiscuous too, and you know, I figured that was a way of getting loved, even though my family tried to love me when, you know, but I didn't want it. It's like I didn't want it from my family. They tried
Well, you didn't feel worthy of it because you were so angry at them. When you're feeling angry, it's hard to accept love from anyone.
and it would be all these years because it happened like I was in the 3rd grade.
Well, of course, because you've never resolved and let go of it. The feeling you have when you go over to your grandmother's house wouldn't be there if this were resolved. So that's how alive it is. How does it affect your relationship with your husband?
I'm angry towards him.
For what?
Different reasons.
Like, give me a reason.
I hit him.
You hit him?
Yeah, I hit him.
For what?
It's just when we get in arguments, like that's the only way that I could like express myself.
Why don't you tell him that you're hurt?
I do tell him that I'm hurt, but the way
Not
that
all the time.
no,
So why don't you tell him that you feel hurt when you feel hurt instead of letting it build into anger and hitting him? Then when you hit him, you feel bad about yourself and you feel out of control. And that lowers your self-esteem. You know, just telling a person, I'm angry with you, just like that, I'm angry with you because you hurt me, releases the anger and releases the hurt. The purpose of anger is to give your hurt energy. You hurt me, don't do that anymore. That's the purpose of anger. Why don't you try saying it that way instead of hauling off and hitting him?
yeah,
Why are you angry with him?
no, it just happens like, you know, when we have.
Why are you angry?
Why
with
am I angry?
Yeah.
Sometimes, well, a lot of times, it's like my way of, because like he could.
Stop. What hurt causes you to be angry?
I don't know.
Focus. This is what you need to focus on. All anger is hurt that hasn't been expressed. How does your husband hurt you? Count the ways.
I would think that he hurts me like, not physically, emotionally. Like
But that's fine. How does he hurt you?
by the words that he uses.
What does he say?
Well, see, we have a lot of problems. You know,
Just say it.
we cuss at each other.
I understand, but what does he call you?
Every time we get in a fight, we call each other names off. It just started happening like he calls me stupid. He calls me, you know, the B word, the F word.
Okay.
You know.
And when he calls you that, what do you do?
I get mad and I hit him.
Well, no. Instead of doing that, why don't you just sit down and be quiet and say, you know, you really are hurting my feelings, and don't say anything else.
But see, I cuss at him too.
Well, don't you cuss at him. Because when you cuss at him, you just go down to his level. Henry, get on the phone.
Hello?
Henry,
Yeah?
why do you cuss at her?
Why?
Yeah, why?
Well, for a lot of reasons. Sometimes I might be watching TV, and all of a sudden she decides that I should get her something from the kitchen, and she's like in the dining room. She's closer to the kitchen than I am, but she wants me to go ahead and get her something, and I'm thinking, why is she being so lazy? Why can't she just get up and do it herself? And then I tell her to shut up.
Why do you do that? Why don't you just say, if you want it, why don't you get it yourself, and don't say any more?
Well, sometimes she keeps persisting and keeps bugging, and
Sherry, why do you do that?
what?
Why do you do that?
I don't know. I guess it becomes like habit.
Well, look, the important thing in a relationship is to be conscious about what you're doing. The two of you are destroying your relationship. Do you know that?
Yeah, in a sense. Yeah.
No, not in a sense.
Yeah, I
in a
guess.
very real way, because it's all you're doing is fighting. You don't talk about the hurt. You immediately go into the anger. Why do you make demands on him when he's watching television? That's the least receptive time in the world to talk to that man. Don't say, Answer the question.
I don't really understand the question.
How can you not understand the question? Why do you make demands on him while he's watching television?
I guess it's like he does it like automatically anyways.
Wait a second. He's watching television. You know if you make a demand on him, he's going to call you names and hurt your feelings. Sherry, do you know what you're doing? You are so furious at the man who raped you and all those people in your life that what you're doing is you're setting up people to be whipping boys for your anger. You're just looking for a fight to get the anger out. It will destroy the love that you're getting. And another thing that you're doing, it's part of your plan to destroy that love.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, why are you trying to destroy that love?
I don't know. I don't know. It's true.
Because it scares you to be vulnerable to another person. And you figure if you can get him to be angry and hate you, at least you can defend yourself against the anger. There's no defense against love because that's a new feeling for you.
You're right.
Okay, good.
Can I ask?
Wait
okay.
a second.
Okay.
Give me back to Henry.
Okay.
Henry,
Yeah.
did you hear that?
Yeah.
Did it make sense? Can I tell you something, pal?
Yeah, go ahead.
You guys are in a lot of trouble. This relationship has a 1 in 5 chance of making it another 12 months.
Yeah, I know.
Okay?
We've been married for about 2 years now.
It's just the worst.
Yeah.
You
But,
guys have to get help. And Henry,
yeah.
you're the healthy one in this relationship. Yes, she's
Yeah.
unreasonable, okay?
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Yes, she's difficult, okay?
Yeah, but
Yeah, just listen.
I am listening.
Yes, she's damaged goods, but you're the healthy one. So it falls on your shoulders to make it better.
Yeah.
All right? That means you're not getting what you want out of the relationship. If you want to leave, pack up and go. But if you're going to stay there, make it better.
Oh,
The-
yeah. I'm planning on staying.
All right, then the two of you need to go see someone together.
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know.
All right. I want you to stay on the line. We'll give you the name of someone or a place where you can get some couple therapy. But the time has come for you to do something about it because enough is enough. Painful, huh?
Some crucial moments for them coming up.
Oh, yeah, and it's just so much pain to hear them screaming and yelling at each other because all she wants to do is vent what has been stored up for years. And
At anyone.
At anyone, and he's the target.
Okay, let's take another call. Let's do Danette. She's on line D, and her husband thinks she's obsessed.
Danette.
Yes,
Hi, Danette. How old are you?
I'm 35.
Tell me what the story is.
Well, my husband thinks I'm staying up too late on Saturday night to watch your program. I've never said, well, I called in about 8 months ago. You gave me some great advice. It worked. And he kind of got razzed because people had heard people stay up and listen also. And he got, it worked for him because of everybody hearing it.
It worked for him?
Well, your advice.
What was the advice? I'm a little...
Oh, he was, at the time I called, you guys summed it up as a prisoner in my own home.
Uh-huh.
That my husband wouldn't let me out. I
I
could go to
remember
the
this.
grocery store and come back, and that
remember
was
this.
it.
Has it changed at all for you?
Yes, it has.
Okay, and what allowed it to change?
Him, actually, it was like what you had said kind of sunk into him.
Good.
Thank goodness.
Okay, so we've made gains, right?
Well, to the point that now he thinks we're having an affair.
Who?
My husband,
Thinks who's having an affair?
you and I.
Does he think that, or how does he think that?
He says, are you going to stay up late tonight and watch your boyfriend?
Oh, well, that's just, that's not having an affair.
That's what his derogatory statements, and
Yeah,
I
but-
just don't know how to take them.
Well-
Do I laugh it off? Do I not watch you? I'm not sure quite what to do.
You know what you ought to say? Let me tell you what I like about David. And you tell him what you like about me. Mainly, you like that I listen.
Definitely.
All right. And I listen without making comments a lot of the time. Sometimes I get a little tough, but I listen.
And you have great advice.
Well, I don't need to have great advice for you to like me. And and the point is, he doesn't need to have great advice for you to love him. All he needs to do is listen without getting ready to make a comment. You know, there are two types of listening. There's a person who listens to you like this, and then when you finish speaking, they go, uh-huh, that's really interesting. And then there are people who, as soon as you finish saying, they say, yes, but the thing I want you to hear is, and they haven't heard a word you said.
That's it.
Right? All right. And that's what you want him to change. You just want him to hear what you're saying. He doesn't have to agree with it, but he has to recognize that it's your position and it's what you've been thinking of.
Well, he just like when your program, there's a commercial, he'll go, oh, there's your boyfriend, you know, and you're a professional, and he took your advice, and it was wonderful, but now it's gotten to the point where, I mean, him thinking that we're having an affair, well, he kind of thinks that I'm having an affair with most everybody that
All right.
walks down the street.
Wait a second. Why don't you tell him that he owes me a little fan letter thanking me for the help in your relationship?
Oh, I don't think he'd really ever admit that it was because of what you said.
Well, do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
What I'm saying is, why be angry at someone who made your life better?
It made my life better. I don't know if it made his life better.
If you're happier, he has to be happier, right?
In a sense, yes.
All right. And that's how I would approach that. Don't put me in competition with him.
Never. I never even said, oh, look, he's got gorgeous blue eyes.
You just did.
He's not awake.
You only have one television set?
On right now, yeah.
Okay, you sure of that?
I'm positive we have a very small house.
Okay. Lady, don't create problems for me.
No,
okay?
I don't.
I'm
Believe
a hard-working
me,
guy, and I just don't need a lot of problems in my life. Okay?
I've never said anything like that. And
Maybe
never.
you should call me sir, and then then it'll sound a lot more distant and professional.
Yeah, I've never even. I call you the doctor. I never say anything more than that.
Okay.
And
Well,
because
maybe you shouldn't discuss me.
Yeah, that might help. Maybe
Because he feels you're needling him, and he's made some changes. Why don't you be supportive and loving him and tell him how much you appreciate his kindness instead of lording me over him? It doesn't work.
No, I don't.
You kind of do.
No, I don't.
If you tell him what good advice I gave someone or how quickly I got the answer to a situation, that's kind of lording it over him.
Well, I said I got through last night, which was Sunday the next day, and he said, what did he say? I told him. He went to work that Monday. There was a couple guys at work, and friends had heard, and they kind of razzed him, but it sank in. So I don't know if it was everybody actually seen that I called in, and yes, we do need help.
Well, apparently he just had a broader perspective on the problem, and that more than anything else made the change. You know, it's an interesting thing about this, but when you call in and other people see you going public, somehow or other, the people in your life take your complaint more seriously. There's safety in numbers, I guess, and I guess the more people who understand that you really are hurting, the greater the chances that something good will happen. So maybe it's time you called in. That's what I think. We'll be right back. David Viscott, and welcome back. And I can tell you, looking at what's coming up, this is an evening you are not going to go to bed on. This is the real thing.
We've got all kinds of calls.
Yeah.
Okay, we have Teresa on line C, and she needs some help making a decision.
Teresa.
Hi.
Hi, Teresa.
I just saw the commercial for Charter Hospital. I have all 10 of the symptoms. Okay.
You do?
Yes.
How suicidal are you?
Oh, it feels good to talk about it, but I don't think I'd do it.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's a way out that you sort of play with.
Well, I don't know. It helps to calm my mind, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does. I once had a patient who used to buy a bottle of aspirin for the day when she would take it all at once, and she had a closet full of about 300 or 400 bottles of pills. It just gave her comfort to know that the way out was there if she wanted it.
I
That's-
can understand that.
I know you could. That's why I told you that.
Okay.
You're feeling depressed, huh?
Oh, I'm just a mess. I've just been a mess for a while.
When did it start?
When did it start?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. Well, actually, it's been ongoing for quite a while.
How long is quite a while?
A year, 2 years, maybe.
Oh, I was thinking it was going to be longer than that. That's pretty good. What happened a year or 2 years ago?
Well, let me give you a little bit of background first.
Just
okay?
tell me what happened 2 years ago, and then I can listen to anything you say.
Okay, 2 years. I'm getting tired of the struggle, if that makes any sense.
2 years ago, you gave up what?
Gave up struggling.
Okay, struggling against what?
Struggling a normal life. Okay, I'm going to have to explain to you.
Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. 7 years ago, I was a prostitute. Okay. And
Is that when you left or when you started?
That's when I left. Okay. It was 4 years before that I'd started. Okay, coming from, your classic abused childhood and, abused boyfriends and ended up homeless and then became a hooker. Okay, as a means of survival.
You were 22?
21, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was 21 when I started. Okay, and anyway, so I did it for about 4 years, and I had a pimp, and I went through the whole abusive scenario with that. Okay, and then I started going to a therapist because I wanted to stop, and I wanted to have a normal life and have a normal relationship with people and men and go to a normal job every day like other normal people do, or supposedly do. Okay, so I went back to school, and I learned a trade. And
What trade did you learn?
do I have to say?
Well, do you like it?
I like what I do. I'm not real successful at it, but I do like what I do.
Okay, what keeps you from being successful?
I don't know.
Okay, what's the trade?
Pardon me?
What's the trade?
Well, it's a, I don't want to
You'll admit to prostitution, but you won't admit to a straight job?
say. Well,
What's that?
Huh?
What's that? You're
Well,
afraid of being discovered?
yeah.
Okay.
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 Go ahead.
So, okay, well, now it's just gotten to the point where I'm spinning my wheels all the time. I'm not having the normal life that I wanted to have. Okay, I mean,
And what changed? Something changed on the job?
No, it's just not been successful.
Okay, and why hasn't
Yeah.
it been successful? I just want to know.
Well, I think maybe because my past life gets in the way a lot.
How?
For example, I have problems relating to just, I want to say squares because that's the way, you're either a square or you're not. And I have trouble relating to people who have petty problems and their little pettiness, and sometimes I
But
hear...
isn't that a relief? I mean, while it may seem stupid to you, if you came from Bangladesh and you came to live over here and you listen to people complaining about how their electric lawnmower broke again,
Exactly.
it may sound stupid to you, but isn't there a comfort in the different level of complaints about the straight life?
I don't know if it's really a comfort when you're looking at these people as your main source of income, or you understand what I'm saying? And you're looking at them like, geez, I hate you for talking this way, but yet I have to sit and be nice to you because, in essence, you're supporting me.
Yeah, but part of what you're struggling with, I think, is some of the pain that you must have denied when you were a prostitute. Because some of the conversations you had with people when sex was being transacted or was about to be transacted, some of that conversation had to be among the stupidest conversation in the history of Western civilization.
Yeah, a lot of it was.
All right, so what are you talking about? And which is dumber? I mean, it's a bunch of phonies with their nostrils spread wide and horny. Right?
Right.
All right, so the fact is that people are horny and people are weird and people are banal and people are strange and people are innocent. And, you know, it's just a different level of the way people communicate. You're out of that life. Why are you ridiculing the ordinariness of it? See, what I'm hearing is something entirely different. Pay attention to this. This is really going to affect you. What I'm hearing is that you have not recognized the fact that it isn't the world, it's you. You're here to develop, discover, and make your gift known. And you have settled for retraining at something that doesn't really seem to fit you. The only way it fits is it's no longer in the life. Isn't that right?
Right.
You're not especially good at it. You're not terrific at it. You really can't make your name being what you are now. You're sort of ashamed the fact that you're not a headliner at whatever you're doing, right?
No, not really.
That's what you're indicating by the way you talk about it. Are you the best at what you do right now? I mean, is the thing you're doing your passion for life?
No.
All right.
No, it's not my passion. for
Then
life.
what are you waiting for? It's time to find your passion for living. You have postponed it.
Someone told me once that I've been so busy trying to survive that I haven't had time
Well, of course.
for myself.
Well, of course.
You know, because, I mean, from my childhood there was survival. And
I
then from the
understand.
streets there was
Of
survival.
course.
And now I'm surviving.
Relax. You have reached the calm center. A lot of things around your life are stupid and ordinary now. Don't put them down. You're surviving. Now what you have to do is be your own patron. Do you know what I mean? Be the person who takes care of you and says, no one ever took care of Teresa before, but I am going to give you something, Teresa, that no one ever gave you before. I'm going to help you find yourself. And you can do and be anything in this world you want to be. You're 33 years old, Teresa.
I know.
All right. Do you know what that means?
Yes.
What does it mean?
It means time slipping.
Is time what?
The time is slipping away.
No, 33 in the great scheme of things is young. It means you could go to school, you could become a physician, you could become a lawyer, you could become practically anything you wanted to become. But you have to decide. In 5 years, you're going to be 38. You're going to be 5 years older than you are now. You might as well become the thing you want to become in life instead of putting down everything as being ordinary. The thing you cannot stand, Teresa, is the fact that when you look in the mirror, you see a person who's also ordinary and you don't believe in your specialness because you've wasted your life in anger, in hurt, in self-subjugation, in demoralizing activities that have hurt your spirit. And now it's time to excavate the heart of you and to find the spark that would give you life again and develop it. I'm telling you the truth.
I know you are.
And you have
That
to...
makes so much sense to me.
Because the reason you're depressed is a good reason. Because you're not living your life.
I'm not.
No. I'm asking you to put aside thoughts of suicide and commit to life. Now look, you don't have to have the answer tonight. But you have to have the belief that there is an answer tonight. And I know there is an answer tonight. I can tell just by talking to you of your sensitivity and intelligence. And how wasted it's all been. It's very easy to get into the sarcastic head of a prostitute where you put down people and you, as Shakespeare said, unpack your heart with words. You know just what he means, right?
Yes, I do.
All right. When you get into that head, you can make your cause right and the rest of the world seem terribly square. The point is you want to have a life that is ordinary in every way except for your talent. That's all you want. You want an ordinary family, ordinary kids, but a special life for you where you're manifesting your talent. That's your goal. Now, you don't have to have the answer for it.
Where do you start looking?
You start looking first by accepting the truth of what I've said.
I accept it.
All right.
I mean, it'll stew in me for a while.
Then
But I
that's
accept
the
it.
next step. That's the next step, to contemplate what I've said. and to surrender to the truth in it as you see it. And then ask yourself, what do I love? The gift that you are given manifests itself first by answering the statement, I love. I love music. I love art. I love to cook. I love this. I love that. Whatever you love is that close to your talent. So answer that question. And as you think about it, over the course of the next week, 2 weeks, month or so, it will start to gel in your mind what it is you want and what it is you have a special gift for. Don't let yourself down. You're the one who's here to save your life, and this is the route you have to take to make it better. Okay? Deep breath.
Huh?
Deep breath.
Yeah, deep breath.
You have a friend.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
You take care.
Okay.
It's amazing, isn't it? It's a terrible life being a prostitute, because what happens is, in order to endure it, you change your reality sense, and you begin to accept the unacceptable, and you change your view of the world so that what is strange and bizarre to other people becomes, in a way, a comfort to yourself. In like manner, we can all adapt to difficult situations, and as the master said, conscience makes cowards of us all. You've got to risk. We'll be right back. David Viscott, welcome back. It's true about Teresa. You have to take risks in your life in order to be free. Otherwise, you're trapped in a past that only repeats itself. And the risk you have to take, well, the risk you have to take is usually the thing you're most aware of right now. The thing you're most afraid of is the risk you have to take. Arlene, who do we have?
Okay, we have Mac on line 12, and he's going through some confusion, wants to talk with you.
Mac?
How you doing?
Hi, Mac. Can you speak up?
Sure.
Great. How old are you?
I'm 29.
And your question?
Well, it's not actually a question. It's kind of a problem.
Okay.
I'm a gay man, 29 years old, and I'm kind of in love with a man who I think may be HIV positive.
You think maybe. How do you think that?
Okay, well, let me explain. I met him about a year and a half ago. I was in the East Coast. I was visiting the West Coast. He was a friend of a friend, and I really liked him a lot, and I went back to Boston, and I ended up moving back here to L.A., and I came up with him again. We met up again, and whatever the circumstances, he ended up living with us. And things started to go the way they left off, and then all of a sudden they just kind of stopped, and I couldn't figure out what I had done wrong. And I said I explained how I felt about him, and he said he loved me as well, and then it just kind of like he stopped showing the feelings. And also the living situation was a problem. We all lived together, and I could kind of understand that. And then I told him how I felt and wrote him letters, wrote letters and gave them to him. And then I was racking my brains trying to figure out what the heck I was doing wrong. And then I spoke to a good friend a mutual friend of his family as well as our friend, and she told me that he had told her that he was HIV positive.
And what did you do with that information?
Well, I confronted him, and he said the test was a mistake. They did it wrong. They did it wrong, and then they did it again. He was negative. And I just kind of put that information in my brain and kind of left it at that. And I spent almost every day of my life with him, and it's in that mode of nothingness. And I was very passive and just kind of said maybe it was a mistake, and maybe I don't know. I didn't know what to think, and then I confronted him again, and I don't know. I just don't know what to do because I'm in love. I'm definitely in love with this man, and he says he loves me, but he doesn't show it the way I don't know.
So you feel that his behavior is best explained by him being HIV positive and not wanting to infect you?
I guess, but...
I mean, have you had sex with him?
Yes.
Has it been careful?
Always.
And
But the last time we did have sex was that first time that I had met him. Not the first time, but that period of time that I knew him.
before he had the test?
Okay, yes.
And after that, you haven't?
Not. Well, it's always been careful. You know what I mean? It's always been careful. Yeah, it's always been careful. After that point, yes, we had sex.
All right. So the question is really that you feel he's trying to keep you close to him, and yet trying to keep you distant at the same time.
Exactly. And I don't. And I've talked to him about it, and he gives me answers, but they're not. I guess they're not the ones that I want to hear.
The answers are not answers.
Exactly.
What he does is he tells you things that make you confused, don't they?
Very.
So
Very,
what I
very
would. Does he still live with you?
Yes.
That makes it more difficult because
Very.
it makes your obsession greater, and it's hard to sort it out. If you didn't live with him, my suggestion to you would have been, why don't you just pull back for a while?
That's what I've been doing.
All right, and just say, I don't want to be involved now because I'm getting some feelings I don't understand. Until I have them sorted out, I can't go forward. And,
That's exactly what I've been doing.
and allow him to come to you if he wants to come to you. But don't force yourself on him.
I never do. That's the problem, is I don't.
That's not the problem. It's that your instincts are quite right. Something's wrong.
Oh, I agree. But you know what? What's even worse is we all live in the same room.
I tell you that. So how can you change that?
What's that?
The living situation.
Well, right now, financially, for all of us, it's not particularly possible. It's like we're all, it's not necessarily stuck because we all enjoy each other's company very, very much.
Well, then maybe you should find another living situation that's equally affordable. But what's happened?
Easier said than done.
What?
Easier said than done, working 2 jobs.
I understand, but the point is that this is preoccupying you to the point where you're not able to function.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. If I function, but it's always in the back of my mind.
That's not functioning.
I suppose.
I mean, what do you do for a living?
I write and I wait tables.
All right. If you write, your mind has to be free. And if you always have this at the back of your mind, you're not free to concentrate on your work the way you should.
You're absolutely right. I haven't been able to sit down.
So this relationship is not good for you.
You're right.
So that means you have to find some way of getting more distance between you and this man so that you can get closer to yourself.
I know, but the feeling...
Why are you fighting me on this?
Because I'm in love, and I just haven't felt this way in so long, and I...
But guess what?
What? I
No.
Okay, I'm listening. Okay, I'm listening.
To just act goofy and moon-eyed over it and say, but I'm in love, I mean, that's not an answer. What you should say is, hey, I'm here for a purpose, and my purpose is to write. That's why you're here. You're not here to be jiggled around at the end of a string by someone who can't be completely opened by you. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do.
I do. What is that attitude?
Well, the attitude is like, I feel I need...
You're addicted to love, right?
Well, I don't know, because I've...
But that's how you're acting.
Well, because I feel like I have like a glimpse of it, and I want to keep it. And
You don't have it.
Well, in some ways
If
I
you
think
had
so.
it, you would have it.
Is it that cut and dry?
Yes, it is. The person who loves you loves you. He says he loves you and he's holding back, then he's not being truthful. You
Absolutely.
can't have it both ways.
Yeah, I can't have a cake and eat it too.
No. What you have to be is a writer and be most truthful to that.
I would love to do. I'd love to have both.
No. Right now, all you have is your writing. You have this other person not at all.
You're right.
All right, so just write and tell him, I'm sorry, I can't live in this relationship. It's too close, I get obsessed with it, and I'm not able to work. And if you really love me, the way you said, you'd move out of here.
You're right. And he's
And that's,
supposedly moving out of here.
that's what I would say to him. And let him approach if he wants from a distance. But meanwhile, you're a writer, go write. People lose themselves so much with love. Love can fulfill you, but it can also take you off the track because it gives you a sense of yourself that is so insecure. You center your whole life around the thought, Does this other person love me? Am I good if I am loved? If this other person doesn't love me, am I a bad person? When we depend upon another person to determine how we feel about ourselves, we always become lost. I want you to find yourself. Stay tuned. David Viscott, welcome back. And this is such a window on the world, isn't it? You just never know what kind of relationship you're going to see. And the truth is, no matter how bizarre things seem, the thing that usually goes wrong is that a person loses contact with the best part of themselves, and then, instead of looking inward, seeks out in the world to make up for the direction they lost. And when you go looking in the world for what you've lost inside, it's always a wild goose chase, and you always get taken because you're setting yourself up to be hurt. Who's up?
Okay, we have Joyce on line B, and she has some concerns about her future with her husband.
Joyce?
Hi,
Hi, Joyce. How old are you?
50.
A little tentative, do I hear?
No, not really.
What's going on?
Well, my husband is in prison. He's been in prison for almost 15 years. And,
He's been in prison for 15 years?
yes,
For what?
murder.
Okay.
And he's maybe coming home in April. And, well, he's 13 years younger than me, and I've aged a lot since I married him 3 years ago.
You
And I
married
haven't-
him 3 years ago.
Yes,
How long had you known him?
13 years.
So you met him in prison?
I started writing to him 13 years ago.
When he was in prison?
Yes. He's in Virginia. And I'm in California.
Okay.
And I went to Virginia in 1984, and I met him for the first time. We had 3 visits while I was there, and then I went back again in 89, and I married him April 15th, 1989. And, well, I'm not worried about him. I know he loves me, and he isn't worried about how I look, but I'm worried about me because, well, I've always been a really beautiful woman, and that all my life, that's all people seem to notice about me, and I don't feel pretty anymore, and I'm afraid of how I'm going to react to him. You know, I'm afraid I'll be embarrassed
Be embarrassed by
by my appearance.
what has happened? You say in the last 3 years.
Well, I used to go dancing every Friday night, and I used to drink a lot, and I quit doing that about a year before that, and before I married him. And I just started aging when I started staying home. You know, I don't know what happened. I don't know why, but
Have you seen him in the last 3 years?
No, I haven't. I haven't seen him since the day after we got married.
Why is it that a woman marries a man in jail?
Well, like I said, I've been writing to him for 13 years. And we were friends through all those years. He was such a good friend. And I even got married, and I got divorced because I think I was just looking for him in somebody out here that's in the free world. And when I realized that and I quit going out, I just felt so much better, and I'm so happy with him. He's
wonderful person. He's treated me better than any man ever has, emotionally.
How often do you contact him?
I talk to him every few days on the phone. I have a very high phone bill. And I still get letters, of course, and I write him.
Well, the main thing between you, it doesn't seem to be physical, does it?
No.
So that's your strength.
Well, it is, yeah. Like I said, I'm not worried about him. I'm worried about me.
Okay. What do you think is the thing that's troubling you the most? You're feeling...
Probably the relationships I had with men before, in the past.
Before what?
Before I married him.
Okay. So why would they be troubling you? That was a different...
I've always been very insecure and very jealous and possessive and hateful at times.
So you feel that because you've aged, you feel you'll be more jealous?
I don't know. I've never...
Well, wouldn't that be what's underlying this? Because jealousy stems from feeling insecure that another person will find someone else generating feelings in them that can be replacing the feelings that are generated by you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So wouldn't that make you feel more insecure if you felt you were aging?
Yeah, but I think I've never been as confident about the way a person felt about me as I have been with my husband.
Oh, so you think he's sitting there with a mental image of you 3 years ago? Does he have any recent pictures?
Yeah, he really... No, I think I'm worried about me, how I'm going to
Does he have any recent pictures?
Yes.
So does he comment about anything that he's noticed in them?
He always tells me that I'm beautiful.
Okay, so that's not a problem in his eyes. It's only a problem in yours.
Yeah, I think I'm afraid of a lot of things.
Name the things you're afraid of.
I'm afraid that... I don't know. I think maybe I'm afraid I don't know him well. And
That may be true, and that you might be projecting onto that lack of knowledge of him some feeling about yourself. And that's what you're using to cover it. In other words, the bad feeling about yourself may be the question you really don't know him. How do you feel about being married to a murderer?
Well, I don't want to go into what happened, but he really didn't murder the man. There was a tussle over the gun. The man had shot him first through the elbow, and he was trying to get out of the apartment, and he had to attack the man to save his life, and the gun went off, and the guy died, and he was charged with murder.
So that's not a problem.
No, I don't feel he's a murderer, but when I met him, I was living with his brother. When I started writing to him, his brother was my lover, and his brother was very physically abusive, and I managed to get him out of my life after 3 years of beating. And
how does he feel about that?
Well, his brother is an alcoholic, so he's like me. He loves his brother, but he feels that he's very ill, And
when you say you had trouble with people before you met him, is that the person you were most concerned about?
Who?
The brother?
His brother? No, I'm not. What do you mean, concerned that he might be like him? Or
No. You mentioned that you had some concerns about people you'd been with before him.
Oh. I've always been abused, even when I was a baby. And I grew up being beat up, and I don't... Through therapy, I realized that, unlike other women, I don't get traumatized by it. It isn't... To me, it isn't the worst thing a man can do to me. The worst thing would be to leave me, but...
Oh, you're just a dependent person who needs another person to be complete, huh?
I I don't think so anymore. I
Well,
think I was.
you're always that. You never change, you know.
Oh, okay.
You're always the kind of person you are. You can become more independent, but now, aging and feeling more uncomfortable about your worth, your fear is that now you may be more abandonable than ever before.
Possibly.
Okay, and that's what's panicking you. You know what I would do?
What?
I would talk about this with him openly,
I have.
and I would not stop talking about it.
But he keeps telling me I'm ridiculous to worry about
But
that.
you don't believe it, because what you don't believe is that you're worthy, because everyone has always been negative and hurt you. And now this man is coming out of jail, and for years you chose someone who was safe to love because he couldn't reject you because he was in jail. And now he's coming out and he is in the free world, free to reject you. And I guess your fear is about that. Talk to him about that fear, and I think you'll start feeling more comfortable. Everyone started life as a dependent person. And that means we were each attached to a parent, and we depended on that parent for love. We needed someone when we were a child to make us feel complete. The object is to grow independent. But somehow in all of us there lives that little belief somewhere, under circumstances when we feel weak and vulnerable, that we still need someone to be complete. How telling a pull that is in our life. We feel not our best. We feel afraid of being abandoned, and we feel easily betrayed when other people let us down. The goal is always to be independent and to recognize the weakness that's inherent in each of us. We need other people sometimes. Stay tuned. We're coming back with a lot of great calls.